It may only be September, but the new Khitan New Year bundle has finally released in Conan Exiles, with fireworks and lanterns aplenty, but at a cost, should you spend your hard-earned money on this bundle? Today, we're going to find out. Firstly, a disclaimer, this set was gifted to me by Funcom. Just like all my other reviews, that will in no way affect my opinions of this set, nor will it affect my recommendation or lack thereof. So without further ado, let's get started. The Khitan New Year bundle comes in at 2,065 Crom coins, the equivalent of $17.20, so we'll call it 17. The bundle contains the following items: the Khitan New Year garments, fireworks, the Mountain Viper pet skin, paper lanterns, New Year cakes and gifts, and the Khitan New Year emblem background and foreground. So let's start with the simple stuff and work our way up. The emblem pieces are very straightforward, a square ornate border for the background with a paper lantern in the foreground. These work very nicely together, some good solid structure and designs that I do think are pretty well made. The foreground lantern works surprisingly well with many different backgrounds, but I think the background box is the star of the show. It works incredibly well with almost any emblem, a super flexible addition. For fans of the clan emblem system, these two offerings are rather great. The New Year cake and gifts is a placeable featuring traditional Khitan goods, coins and gifts, seemingly based on real-world Chinese traditions. These are pretty good, well made and nicely detailed, even on close examination. It certainly will fit well in any kitchen, and it's always nice to have more food placeables. It won't sell the bundle on its own, but for what it is, this placeable is fairly nice. The Khitan paper lanterns are one of the more unique pieces in this bundle, consisting of two thin wooden posts supporting a string of lanterns between them. This is very on brand for the bundle's style and design, and does offer something special stylistically. As for the actual function and light level of these, not great. They do have a nice glow which can add well to the aesthetics of a build using these lanterns, but there is very little actual light output. Whilst they are nice, I really wish they were brighter. They're frankly borderline useless for functional light, so they have to be supported with other light sources, though of course they do work well alongside the Khitan red lanterns from the DLC. Visually well made, but not as useful as they could be. The Mountain Viper pet skin is pretty straightforward, created by using a sorcerer's pet food with a regular or greater cobra. The design is very nice and rich and makes the snake significantly larger than the base game alternatives, and the head of both snakes has a design reminiscent of a traditional Chinese dragon. I'm not a big pet user myself, but I am a big fan of the design and coloration here. It fits really nicely into the overall Khitan theme whilst not being too unrealistic to be an actual serpent. In total, pretty good offering on the pet front. The fireworks are basically what you'd expect. Small placeable sticks you throw into the ground and then interact with to set them off. They have a nice fire trail as they go off and explode into a purple and white pattern. Quite nice, nothing that will sell the bundle on its own, but for what it is, it's good. Lastly, the Khitan New Year garments. These are clothing type armour, meaning they offer very little actual armour value and are designed for aesthetics over function, though they do include a carrying capacity bonus. They're only available in regular quality and are handcrafted, requiring silk and twine. The armour is functionally identical on both male and female models and includes a nice distribution of colour, tones and patterns for an overall quite clean look. The armour takes dyes well, with solid colour reproduction trending a touch dark. Black dyes don't replicate well, but everything else is fine. There is an inconsistency on the boots that won't allow you to dye the red strips, which is a pain, and you can't dye the gold accents on the robe top, even though you can on other pieces. Both issues may be unintentional, and I have reported them to Funcom just in case. Overall, the Khitan New Year garments are pretty good. They're well designed, aesthetically nice, and take dyes decently, but do have one or two issues. My main problem is, honestly, the hat. I really don't like the hat, but that's just me. Also worth noting, the back of the robe top has a ton of good pattern work. I think it's a really good idea to put that on the side of the character that the player likely sees the most of. Overall, the clothing is quite good. So, all things considered, is the Khitan New Year bundle worth your money? It's a pretty nicely made set. Khitan isn't as well represented as some other cultures, so it's nice to not only have a bundle to do that, but one that is overall pretty cohesive. It takes clear cultural inspirations and offers some more unique elements like the lanterns, clothing and the pet skin. However, I think you know what I'm going to say. At the price point of $17, that's steep. Whilst the bundle is nice, I don't think it's $17 worth of nice. There are some good items here that could be surprisingly flexible. I think pretty much everything apart from the fireworks has a practical use, but unfortunately the price doesn't match the contents. There are also some issues with the usability of the lanterns, which themselves I think are a big draw for this set, and some smaller inconsistencies with dyeing the garments that do drag the set down a bit overall. Therefore, I do not recommend the Khitan New Year bundle. If you are interested in individual pieces of this set, I think it might be worth waiting until they're sold individually. Anyway, that will wrap us up for today. Thank you for watching. This bundle does some things well and some things not so well, but I do think overall it is nice. It's just the price point that lets it down. As always, feel free to let me know your thoughts on the price and the contents in the comments down below, and if you enjoy my videos, do check out the Patreon page through the link in the description. There's early access to videos like this, wallpapers, video credits and much more, and joining us helps out the channel massively. On that note, a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultist for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. Take care, and I'll see you soon.